One of the biggest questions was, were we going to have Trunks or we were going to not have Trunks? I talked to Zack Snyder, who was like, I tried a billion different versions with the Trunks, and I couldn't get there. And I was feeling exactly the same way. I went in with David, he tried in not Trunks, and he tried it Trunks, and I still was going to go with not Trunks.
You wanted Trunks in theory. You liked the idea of Trunks.
Theoretically, I like the idea of Trunks, because it's, Superman I grew up with.
But the problem is, they look kind of silly. You were looking for a way to make them look cool, or you were looking for a function, an explanation for having them.
A reason why they would be there, yeah.
And my thing was just maybe they're supposed to look a little silly. Maybe the reason he wears them is to look a little silly, basically to undermine how powerful he really is.
In this version of the DCU, everyone knows he's an alien. He shoots beams out of his eyes. He can blow things down with his breath. He's sort of this terrifying creature, but he really likes kids and human beings and people, and he wants kids not to be afraid of him. And so that was the thing that made me decide to keep the Trunks.
Right here, AKAPADers, right here. You tell me, is the red crotch a big deal? Does it mean anything? Because that bell has already been rung. The toothpaste is already out of the tube. You can't undo those things. See, you guys remember back when Kevin Smith, and I hate that John Peters little bit he used to do, that speech, because I just think it's disingenuous. I think it's a LIE with all of that. One of his hooks for this story, you guys remember this story, Kevin Smith was like, oh, and they didn't want Trunks, right? Or they thought the Trunks looked gay or something, right? Or like the Trunks and the cape looked gay, right? And people at the time, you were like, right? Like you were like, no, the Superman's costume cannot be changed. Now, to counter that, at one time, it was a big deal for Spider-Man. For Webhead. Don't change it. You cannot change it. And with all of the movies and the video games and, well, right? So, once you ring that bell, you can't unring it. So we've already had 2 major live-action Supermen with no Trunks. So we're already over it. All the other interpretations up until that point, until Man of Steel, had Trunks. Here's the problem. Right? And it kind of reminds me of that Patton Oswalt bit about George Lucas and Rock Salt, if you guys remember that, where it's like we enjoy ice cream. We love ice cream. It's made with rock salt. We don't care. We just want the ice cream. We have to explain everything. Like, you're the guy making the movie, writing the movie, running the studio, co-CEO. But you're like, this is all yours, Mr. Gunn. And you have to somehow convince yourself to pull the trigger. No one cares about the Trunks. That is a long dead argument. Now, who are the people you have to make the trunk argument to? Or you think you have to make the argument to? Well, it's the non-comic book readers, right? Like, they're the ones that need the explanation. James Gunn claims to be a comic book guy. He likes to wear that badge. The wild thing is, though, if he was, he would say, well, I'm in position. Trunks. We don't need to explain it. The guy has Trunks on. Moving on. But if you're a non-comic book guy, you think you have to make that argument. I thought I thought with living in a hyper superhero loving culture, these arguments would never have to be made ever again. Let me know what you guys think. Do Trunks need an explanation? It's a real question.